social issues segment of Zoe Morning Show that is coming to you from our city here at East Legon American House in Accra. My name is Kevin Lambert Hedson, as usual, and this morning I'm just privileged to have a great woman of God joining me for this broadcast as we are going to be focusing on a very, very important subject, and you don't want to miss out on that at all. And so stay with me as I welcome my very guest to the studio. She happened to be gifted, and so Apia. Woman of God, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
And I trust you are doing well.
I'm doing great, by the grace
God
of God.
for your life. And she happens to be the director, that's the national director for Compassion Ghana. Stay with us as we do this. This morning we are going to focus on how to invest and take responsibility of our children. That is very key. Why? You have seen over the years a lot of children, sometimes some of them may end up on the street, and a whole lot more, even in the church. Sometimes they may even become a burden to the pastor. Yes, to the pastor. One of God, is that true?
You are very right.
Do pastors have to live with this issue of maybe somebody's irresponsibility becoming their responsibility?
A lot of it. Sometimes you find in the church that there are people who are actually living on the streets. Children who are living on the streets, but they come into the church. So any responsible pastor who is involved in the lives of the congregation will draw close to such people. And at the end of the day, you end up taking responsibility of some of those people.
Absolutely. Wow. So that's a very quick observation there, and that is to just establish the basis for our discussion this very morning. So we're going to move on. Since the focus is on children, how to invest and become more responsible to our kids. Let me first of all understand, or help us understand, what parental care actually is.
Thank you very much, and good morning once again.
Good morning.
Thank you so very much for having me this morning.
It's a pleasure.
When we talk about parental care, it's a process that involves all the investments that is made by parents to ensure that children grow and develop appropriately. It's a process where you promote and also support the physical, emotional, social, cognitive, and spiritual development of a child. So it's a massive responsibility on the part of the parent, and it actually goes beyond, just providing shelter. It goes beyond providing food. It even goes beyond protecting that child, which is very important. We'll talk about it as we go along. But parental care even goes beyond all of that. It actually involves a prolonged period where the parents, the parents actually supports this individual, and the Bible says that children are a gift from God. And so this gift that God has given, parents actually support them and ensure that they are developed to a point where they end up achieving a quality of life.
Okay. So they are supposed to receive some guidance from the parent or some caring from their parent till they got to a point where they can now fend for themselves. So not like a parent who says that, okay, I'm a responsible man, and you ask, oh really, are you sure? And you're like, okay, I am home, I have my kids, I feed them 3 times a day, and that is it. So maybe that is his own, the fact that he's feeding them, making sure they are eating, he's done. That's not it.
That's not it at all, because you need to make more investments.
Okay.
Recently, I was speaking to someone. I was telling the person, we're just having this conversation, and I was telling the person that, sometimes, erroneously, we think that it is money that takes care of kids.
Okay.
Money plays a role, but it is not money that takes care of them, because we are talking about mentoring here. We are talking about inculcating values.
Okay.
We are talking about enabling an individual, a creation of God, someone created in the image of God, to once the person has arrived on this earth through you, or maybe sometimes it's not, we have parents who are really not biological.
Yeah.
But once you've taken that responsibility, you are talking about inculcating in that life all that it takes for that person to holistically develop, and at the end of the day be able to accomplish the purpose for which God brought them on this earth. So it's way beyond money. It's way beyond just saying, I've put money on the table and I'm gone. You don't know what is going on in the life of that individual. You don't know what their aspirations are. You don't know what their dreams are. You have not a clue of what goes on in their life. And you are not investing. You are not pouring yourself into that individual. That's not parenting.
Wow, that's not parenting.
That's
Surprisingly,
not parenting.
some parents will put you in school, but they will never make time to attend a PTA meeting. They will never make time to visit your campus, at least, to find out how you are faring. Some may not even pay attention to the reports that comes from school.
And that is why sometimes you find some individuals, some kids, what the parents think they are is really not what they are.
Are not what.
Because they don't know them.
They don't know.
They are not involved in their life. As a parent, you need to be involved, actively involved in the life. So the child goes to school and they come back. You need to find a way of getting to know what actually went into the child's day. Okay, and you are talking about PTA. You are talking about who are your friends. I mean, what are the type of things that excites you? What are your dreams? It's not just, sometimes we ask our kids, what do you want to become when you grow up? Most of the time they say, I want to be a doctor, and that's the end of it. Why do they want to be a doctor? What have they seen? What problems in this life do they want to solve? And how are you as a parent? You may not be a lecturer, you may not be a teacher, but how are you guiding and guarding them so that whatever dream it is that they have, they are able to achieve it, so that you actually complement what is going on. Other times also, let me quickly talk about this. Other times, especially for those of us who are Christians, sometimes the spiritual development of the child, we relegate that to the Sunday school. Sunday school teachers.
That's why I send it to Sunday school every Sunday.
I send it to Sunday school. I mean, I make sure that you go to, and that's the end of it. Beyond that, but Bible actually demands that the discipleship of that child, the nurturing of that child, is the responsibility of the mother and the father, indeed of the father. And so when you read the scriptures, in the culture of the Israelites, the scripture makes us to understand that, look, you are supposed to write on the doorpost all the rules, all the laws. Talk about them when you sit down with a child. Talk about them when you are walking on the road with them. Talk about them even when you are sleeping. So when the Bible says that talk about it when you are sleeping, is that a Sunday teacher? Is that a Sunday school teacher?
No.
Is that the classroom teacher? No. It's obviously the parent. And so that is the responsibility of a parent. So it's not just about, I've paid your school fees. It's not just about, I've given you your chop money. It goes way beyond that.
These wonderful revelations coming, so revealing and educative this very morning on Zoe TV, your channel of salvation. And so I'm going to go back to her to find out, though we are seeing, it's almost like the relevance, but let's see how relevant is parental care to our society, even to us as a nation today.
Okay, so, God in his own wisdom made it such that every individual, you don't put a seed in the ground and then it grows, becomes a tree, and then you pluck a human being from it. But in his wisdom, he made sure that that offspring, that child, will come out as a result of a union between two people, a man and a woman. And he, in his plan and in his wisdom, that child is supposed to grow up in the environment, in a family environment. Very, very important. So if you ask me the question about how relevant is it, first and foremost, God intended it to be so. That's the plan of God. I mean, and if you bought a car, if you bought anything that is manufactured, and you want to use it well and to get out of it what you want, you need to go by the owner's manual. And so that is how God created it to be. So the family environment within the early years, especially parenting, as we are talking about, are the major determinants of human development.
Okay.
Major determinants of human development. So you cannot talk about development and take away the family. You cannot talk about development, holistic development, and take away the role of parenting.
Of parenting.
So it's very, very critical. And why? Because they shape the foundations of lifetime skill acquisition and lifetime education. Many times I tell my children, sometimes they would ask me a question and I'm able to answer them. And they say, Mommy, you know everything. And I'm like, Mommy is a doctor, Mommy is a teacher, Mommy is a carpenter, Mommy is a tailor, Mommy is everything. And God makes it that way, so that you are able to establish those foundations even before that child goes anywhere else. So the investment of parents in the life of the child or that individual is very critical. The proper investment is critical if we want to see development of our societies. If we get it wrong in the home, we will get it wrong in church.
Okay.
We will get it wrong in school. We will get it wrong in the society. And that is why these days you see a lot of dysfunctional societies. It's coming from the home.
It's coming from the home. As the saying goes, charity begins from home. My guest this very morning happens to be, Mrs. Gifty Dansua Apia, and continue to be with us and be part of the broadcast this very morning. And the focus is on how to invest and take responsibility of our children, for kids, possibly, if you want to use that word. So continue to be with us. And in a few minutes, we will activate a phone line. You can call and be part of the show. If you want to ask any question this very morning, as we go on, we are talking about you taking responsibility of your kids. But we live in a country where we have laws. So I'm going to move on to the legal matters to see if there are some provisions in our very constitution or possibly some laws that make it make it incumbent on us to take care or take responsibility of our kids. So back to you, woman of God. What provisions are there? What law is enforcing parental care?
So in Ghana, we have a lot of legal frameworks. I think Ghana is one of the first countries that actually ratified the Convention on the Rights of the Child. So that is there. That it gives us a framework. We also have the Children's Act. We also have the Domestic Violence Act.
Okay.
And then there are other policies also that we have as a country. We have the Child and Family Welfare policies. And then we actually have a child protection policy as a country. Government has actually instituted many institutions that are also responsible. And so you have the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. And you have the Department of Children, Social Welfare, and many, many others. I think as for the laws, as for the legal framework, we do have them. The challenge I have seen is with implementation. Now, when you go to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, I mean, in the preamble, even before you go into the act, the convention is in the preamble. It talks about, and let me recall some of them. It talks about the fact that the United Nations proclaims that childhood is entitled to special care and assistance.
Okay.
It's in the CRC. It also recognizes that the child, for the full and harmonious development of his or her personality, should grow up in a family environment, in an atmosphere of happiness, love, and understanding.
Beautifully
and
stated.
on and on and on. It considers the fact that the child should be fully prepared to live an individual life in society. And it's the responsibility of parents to do that. So that's the convention in the preamble. And then when you go to our Children's Act, and I really like it the way they enact these laws. They actually set it to right. They set the tone right from the beginning. When you go to the Children's Act, the very first part 1, I think in the section 5 or so, it talks about the fact that children have a right to grow with parents.
Okay, to grow with parents.
It's their right. So if there's any parent who abandons, neglects the child, you're actually going against the law.
The law.
And we have many of such. One day I was talking to my son, and my son was saying, if we were going to arrest all the parents who have neglected their children, he doesn't think that there will be enough handcuffs to arrest the people. Because
serious, of course.
You just go out here, you find children who are loitering about. Go to the beach, you find children who are loitering about. But it's in the law that the right of the child to live with their parents is there. So as for the laws, my brother, we have them. I think the difficulty, because you would wonder if you walk along the street and you find children loitering about, you find children on the street, and you consider that we have these laws, then the question arises, what is wrong?
What is wrong? The enforcement we have.
The enforcement of the laws is where we have the problem. So as for the legal framework, they are available in abundance.
Wow. So this is it. It's so amazing, isn't it? Continue to be with us. Now the phone line is activated. You can be part of this program if you want to join us quickly, even as we continue with our discussion. I want us to do some quick comparison. Yeah. Before we grew up to this age, there were people before us. So definitely, parental care has been there for a very long time. So we are going to do some quick comparison to see days before us now, were those parents more responsible than the parents of today? How people quickly have kids all over the place and they are not going to take responsibility of this. So the numbers again are on the screens. Pick those that are allocated for calls only. Don't call the WhatsApp line, and make sure we hear you loud and clear. If you're close to your television set, once you're calling, walk away from the television set so we can hear you loud and clear, so we don't get feedbacks. Thank you as you continue to follow us on the network. I'll come to Facebook to read your comment, those of you on Facebook. So back to you, one of God.
You want us to compare?
Yeah, to do a quick comparison.
And parents of the past.
Of the past.
And contemporary
yes.
Parents. Who is more responsible?
Yes.
I think that's a question that I may not be able to give a straightforward answer. It's not black and white. In every generation is presented with its own challenges and dynamics. And when you are presented with those challenges and dynamics, there are always people who get things right and others who get them wrong. There are people the parents of the past who got some things right. And then there were some also who got some wrong. And in our contemporary world also, we have our own dynamics and our own issues that we are grappling with. And there are parents who are getting some things right, and there are some who are getting some wrong. Now, when you take parenting as a skill, it is not a subject that is taught in school. It is not something that you go to school and acquire. I acquire a degree in parental skills. It doesn't happen anyway. So everybody comes into that space, becomes a parent, and you have to learn as you go along. And as you learn, as you do it and learn along, that is where sometimes you get some things wrong and sometimes you get some things right. Maybe what I can say about the contemporary generational parents is the fact that we have an advantage, and the advantage is now knowledge seems to be in abundance. For example, this show that we are running right now, if you are a serious person and you want to get your parenting right, you would sit down, you would listen, and you will see if you can pick one or two principles and apply. So that helps you. In the past, our parents, our forefathers, would not have that advantage. How many homes had a television?
Come back to you. We have a call on the
okay.
line holding free for you. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. You're with us on Zoe TV. Your name and where you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, this is Zoe TV. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel calling from Accra.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I want to contribute to the program. the scriptures have made us know that children are heritage of the Lord. It's very good for us to take good care of our children, invest into them, and then see them coming up strongly and mightily in the Lord. I just want to congratulate the woman of God on the show, and we are saying that God bless her so much. God bless her so much for bringing us this understanding and how to invest into our children. Thank you.
Thank you as well. God bless you, sir, for calling. And so on Facebook, I see you. Okay, Pastor Party watching the program on Facebook, and I see Sally Boydie, who says, "Mommy, most welcome," and came back to say, "Compassion into the world." I see you, Princess Mina, who says, "Hallelujah," and also came back to say, "Well, parents in the past didn't really get a tough time with their children because they were respectful." Okay, so she's making a point here. Yeah. Aside the caller who was patting you on the shoulders, she's making a point that the parents of yesterday were,
had it easier.
they had it easily because they themselves were respectful.
So, as I was making the point, and I was saying that in contemporary times, knowledge abounds, and so we have that advantage.
Yeah.
If you want to take advantage of it, you can, because it was not so common in the past. Now, the other side of contemporary times is that our challenges, the challenges of child upbringing now, are more complicated and complex.
Okay.
In the past, you could easily tell your child, you do not have a television set at home.
Okay.
So you could easily tell your child, I don't want you to watch TV, and you don't have to do anything because the thing is not there. So the child stays at home and they don't go. But right now, in some homes, you go, there are about 5 television sets.
Okay.
And you want to control, that's just an example I'm giving, you want to control the kind of things that your children are watching.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy. And so beyond just saying, and I think that's what the lady was trying to say,
yes.
Beyond just saying don't do it, today the child wants to know why. Why shouldn't I do it?
Yeah, why shouldn't I do it?
And you need to propound a theory to the child, a hypothesis.
They query you so much.
And then you have to do it. And then even after that, how you monitor and enforce also becomes a challenge. Because the things that you don't want your children to indulge in, even if you don't want your child to go out there, it's right at your doorstep. So the issues and the challenges that we have to grapple with today are, I would say, a little bit more complicated. But that does not mean that the parents of old also didn't have their own issues. Though they also did have their own issues.
All right, so that is it, a quick one there for you. And the parents of old also had their own issues that they dealt with whilst they raised their kids. And so that is it. So the comparison, as we are doing it, we have to watch all these angles whilst we establish the facts, whether they were more responsible than today. Now, let's move on. Whilst we await your calls, the phone line is still activated. You can join us if you're on Facebook. Just put your comment there, and I'll come to the comments, reading them here loud and clear. Now, we are going to look at what actually is causing. We've been talking about the most beautiful part of parental care, how it's supposed to be. We also look at the provisions, which laws that are supposed to be enforcing it. And so let's go on and see why is it that parents of today, our parents are being, a lot of them are being so irresponsible. We see children all over the community. We cannot deny that. And when we started, I talked about the church, that sometimes the burden becomes the pastor's burden, because you have to love them, you have to take care of them. So what is bringing the irresponsibilities?
That question demands a... I think the reasons and the variables are many. Sometimes there are people who just bring forth children. They are not ready.
Okay.
They've not, if
Was that some kind of accidental? Or they purposely, they intentionally, I want a kid.
Both. They want a child. But they do not take the pains or the responsibility of getting to know what is involved. You know, of what is involved. What is my foresight? What is my vision for my children? In fact, if I line up 10 parents here and I ask them, what is the vision for your children? What is the vision that you have for your children? I'm sure I will not get more than 20% of them who will get it right. So there are parents who are just, you know, they are bringing forth the children, but they do not have a vision. They do not have a foresight of what do I want to do with these children? What do I want these children to come and do in this world? There's that one. So inadequate foresight of parents, you know, concerning the children that they are bringing up. And then also, the other challenge is that there are so many child parents.
Oh, okay.
Parents who are themselves children.
Children, okay.
Talking about
not matured enough.
Teenage pregnancies, rampant all over the place. You know, so the child themselves, they need parenting, and they have a child. So you see them on the street. So who is parenting who?
Someone is carrying you at your back. I mean, his or her back. Yeah. You also want to carry another on your back.
Exactly. I many years ago, I was doing a survey in one village, and I went to the community, and I saw that child is between 9 to 11 years old.
Mercy.
And she was holding a child, and I was actually doing the survey for caregivers. So I meet this child and I say, oh, but why your parent? Where's your mom? And she says, my mom is out. I said, no, I'm talking about the mother of this child you're holding. And somebody is walking by and said, that's the child. So you have
9, 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you have children themselves who are, how responsible can they be? They're not even responsible for their own lives. So that is a challenge. And so you find a cycle.
Yeah.
They are living on the streets. They give birth to children on the streets. So it becomes a cycle. They are all living. So you have generations that live on the streets. And then you also have, you know, this technological age in which we find ourselves. I have seen many WhatsApp pictures showing parents, supposed parents or caregivers, and who are so engrossed in their phones that they virtually neglect their children. That is also a challenge. Very subtle, but it's a challenge. Because at the time, and children, I always say that the child cannot wait. If a child has a question for a parent right now, and the parent, you are not available, sometimes you can be there present, but not available. And you are not available to answer that question. That is a golden opportunity lost probably forever.
Forever, okay.
Because that child, if they cannot wait, so they may go and ask the wrong person, and they may get the wrong answer. So this technology thing that is taking all of our time, and it's not allowing us to invest time, quality time in our kids, it's also leading to the irresponsibility. That's why I was telling you that it's not just money. Because you see both parents, mother and child, each of them is holding iPhone, whatever, you know, the very high end. So the issue is not money. The issue is not money. But this iPhone has actually become a snare. And they are constantly on it to the neglect of their children. People must get out there, make ends meet. So early in the morning, issues of traffic. If I don't leave home at 4, I cannot get to where I'm going. So I even leave home before the child is awake. And I come back when the child is sleeping. So these things, you know, I don't know how society is dealing with some of these things. But at the end of the day, you will think that it's because of this child that I'm running all around. But you are handling one side and neglecting
the other.
The
we come back to you again. We go to the phone line. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Zoe TV. Your name and where are you calling from?
This is Gosi calling from Accra.
Let's hear you.
I just want to thank the woman of God for suffering his with teaching that she have enlightened us on how to take care of our children. And I know that this generation needs that a lot. And we thank her for her time and giving us time to study this words. God bless you so much. And we would like to see more time of these teachings. God bless you, sir.
God bless you as well for calling us this very morning. Thank you. Our time is closing up. We should be wrapping up now. But then there are still some questions. So let's provide some solutions. It's as if we have been identifying the challenges. So let's just go to some investment opportunities, or what parents should be doing so they can be capable, even before you go in for, or before you start having those kids? What you should be doing before, so that you can take care of them?
So when I keep talking about investing, investing, and when I talk about investment, I'm just talking about simply the things you do today, so that you can achieve better results tomorrow. There are certain things you need to put in place today, so that tomorrow you achieve better results. If your tomorrow is not better than today, then your investment is not in the right place. So what can we do? Even before I start wanting to have a child, you need to plan. You need to plan effectively. What is my vision for my kids? You need, and I want to humbly recommend that sometimes you even need to pen those things down, so that sometimes they become even prayer topics for you. And sometimes you also, when you see them coming to pass, you begin to take off, and then you know that you're on the right path. I mentioned that knowledge abounds. There are books on parenting. There are people who have done parenting. They've known the good, they've known the bad, they've known the things that we have to, the pitfalls that we have to avoid. And some of them have taken time and put them in books. So make the effort, buy some of those books, read. There's no need for us to fall where those who have gone ahead of us are falling, and they've given us the clues. We don't have to fall there. So read, plan, make a conscious. Parenting involves demands a conscious effort. And that is one. And I think that the church also has a great responsibility. Many times we go to church, we stand in the pulpit, we preach, we see the adults, we preach to them. The children are in the Sunday school, and I dare say there are pastors who've never even visited a Sunday school before. And many times we leave them in the care of also young people. I think the church has a big role to play. The church needs to train our members, our adult members, how to do proper family, how to parent. That responsibility is. I started off by, I just want to read it, if you permit me. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4 down, it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart." So God is talking about his word, and he says, "You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down. And when you rise, you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes," and on and on and on. So there is a requirement from God. When God blesses you with a child, God has a requirement. There are demands upon the parents. And I think it's the responsibility of the church to be training these young parents. In fact, some are old parents. They don't know how to do it. The responsibility of the church to take interest in how children are being reared, so that tomorrow they don't become a burden. You said a burden to the church, a burden to the society. So the church also has a role to play. And I think parents must also be able. One of the things is that be conscious, be intentional, to raise your children well, so that they don't become a burden. Parents must learn how to balance. Yes, you need money to feed them, but on top of that, you also need to make other investments in time, quality engagement with your children, and I'm talking about quality time, where you are just you are just investing your time into the life of your children and making sure that you are pouring something into them. That takes it takes intentionality. So all of these things must be done so that we can get things right. I know that our time is running, but these are very, very important things to do if we want to get parenting right.
Thank you very much. We still do have a lot more questions, but possibly we can only host you again in the future. And viewers will have to keep following us, and we will announce to you when else she would be coming again, because there are a lot more issues. These issues must be addressed. And you who have been able to follow us today, don't keep these things shared to yourself. Teach to others what you have learned. That's how life is supposed to be. So let's make sure that we do this. And the woman of God who joined me happened to be a great woman of God. She received an award most recently. Woman of God, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
God bless you for your hard work. It's prudent. It's just good enough that you've been recognized for your hard work.
Thank you.
Yes, and we pray for even much more awards to come in the future.
Glory to God.
Okay, and she happened to be Mrs. Gifty Dansua Apia, and she is the National Director for Compassion Ghana. She's been with us on the social issue segment of Zoe Morning Show, and this program has been live on Zoe TV, Jesus Saves TV, and also Zoe Plus, and we've been on Facebook as well. Thank you all who join us to be part of the broadcast. My name is Kevin Lambert Hudson. From the control room, I received support from Pastor Pate, who helped with MCR work today, and John. I also had Pastor Innocent with sound, Pastor Emmanuel with sound, and King James with camera. Great team as usual, making sure that we are with you. Stay with us. We still have some Christian content coming your way, quality programming. This, of course, your most reliable and authoritative Christian channel. Keep following us and enjoy the rest of the morning.
The following program is sponsored by CBN.